Hi, and welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm Alex Weaver. For today's class, all you need is a yoga mat or towel or something comfortable enough to do exercises on, a sturdy chair or something you can sit on with your full body weight, and some water. So we'll get started here in just a few. I'm going to make sure the stream is up, and then we will get started. All right, so looks like we are good. So we'll start here in just a second. I have to admit, when I got on today, for a split second, was like, oh, I forgot to wear my mask. However, we are virtual, so masks are not required today. All right, so give everyone a few more seconds. So for those of you who just hopped on, so for today's workout, all you need is a yoga mat or a towel, something soft enough for you to lay on and do exercises, a chair or something sturdy enough for you to put your body weight on, to sit on, and then some water. So we'll get started here in just a second. As always, if you have any questions during the workout, feel free to drop them in the comments. I will try to check them periodically, and we will start in just a second. Also, if for future reference, is it helpful for you all to be able to see the clock? I can't actually tell if you can see the clock counting down because I know it's kind of bright, but I will put it somewhere where you can see it. Sometimes I'm going to be blocking it, but just let me know. So if you have thoughts on the clock, drop them in the comments. All right, so let's start today with a nice little warm-up. So let's start today with a set of walkouts. So you're going to walk your hands out into the plank position, walk your hands back, reach for the ceiling, and then repeat. So we're going to do this 5 times. I think that was 4, maybe not. We'll do an extra just to be sure. Great job. All right, so we're gonna come to a tabletop position on our hands and knees. We're gonna inhale up into our spine, exhale, down. Inhale up, exhale, down. Notice my head is moving with my body. Perfect. So go ahead and sit back into child's pose. Just for a second or two. You can let yourself relax a little bit. Take a few deep breaths. And then come back to that tabletop position. I'm going to turn just so you can see me a little bit better. So last week we did some sideline thoracic rotations. This week we're going to do for the needles. So you can put one hand behind your head. You're coming in and then rotating away. We're going to do about 5 reps per side. And then switch. Great. All right. So coming back into the plank position. So I'm going to give you a couple options for this next stretch we're going to do. So you can do this seated, or you can do this on the ground. Seated, what you're going to do is take one leg, cross it over like this, and then lean forward. So I'm keeping my back flat, I'm hinging at my hips, and I'm feeling the stretch on the outside of my leg that's bent. So you do that for each side. Alternately, you can also do on the ground, starting in a plank position, bringing that leg under you, just like this, and coming into this stretch. So we're gonna hold for a few seconds. And then switch which leg is forward. Again, it's okay if you are not this flexible. And if you're seated, go ahead and switch which leg is on top. Same thing. Perfect. So coming into a plank position. So on your hands, just like this, you're going to bring one leg forward, then rotate toward that leg. Switching which leg is forward. And last one. Perfect. All right, so you can move your chair out of the way for right now. So we're gonna come back to a little bit of lower body mobility. So we're gonna do deep squat stretch. So we're sitting into a deep squat, grabbing our toes, elbows are on the insides of our knees, pushing out. You can shift your weight back and forth a little bit. Try to keep your chest up and open, and then we're gonna come up into a hamstring stretch. We're not gonna hold any of these for a particularly long amount of time. Just gonna kind of move through our range of motion. So come back into that deep squat as far as you can. You press your elbows into your knees, drive them out a little bit, and then back up into that hamstring stretch. Then we're gonna come over to the wall. If you don't have a wall, you can also use your chair, but something you can hold on to. We're gonna do some leg swings. So we're just gonna swing our leg gently and controlled across our body 10 to 12 times. And then switch sides. I just heard my hip pop very loudly. It's all good. Beautiful. All right. So last but not least, let's do a few more upper body stretches. So let's go ahead and have a seat. So you're going to take your arms and rest them at your sides, sit up nice and tall. And you're just gonna bring your chin to your chest and then slowly rotate all the way through your next range of motion, and then back around. We're gonna do this 3 to 5 times. Perfect. So last but not least, we're going to stand and do some arm circles. So slowly rotating those arms forward, nice and controlled, making sure you're continuing to breathe. And backwards. You can change the size of your circles a little bit, play around, see what feels good for you. And shrug your shoulders a few times, maybe rotate a little bit. And that is it for our warm-up today. So grab some water. While you are drinking your water, I'm going to talk us through Circuit 1. Also, it looks like the camera lens is blurry, so let me see if cleaning it will help. Hopefully that made it better and not worse. Okay, so we're going to start Circuit 1 today with some super people. We're going to do single leg Rdls, which are deadlifts, Plankto Downward Dog with taps, and some dead bugs. So super people, you're laying on your stomach, arms stretched out, you're coming up, holding for 2 seconds, back down. You can also try doing swimmers for these if you don't want to do super people. So swimmers, you are bringing opposite arm, opposite leg up, just like this. Super people, you're coming up with both and back down. So you would even do one set of swimmers, one set of super people. It's up to you. Secondly, we're going to do Rdls. So I mentioned this before. When I do Rdls in here, the flooring here is kind of squishy, so I like to put something more solid under my feet. So likewise, if you are on carpet or on your yoga mat, it might be easier to be on the hardwood floor or tile because it will grip a little bit better. So Rdls, you are standing, engaging your core, letting your hips come back, knee bend slightly, but your shin stays parallel, and then coming forward. So just like this, you're sitting into your hamstring and glute, coming back up. If you struggle with balance, what you can do is you can either use, so I'll show you on my left now, because my left side is definitely not as good at balancing. So I'm using a foam roller, you can use a chair, whatever you have, a wall, whatever. So you then would use that to help stabilize yourself as you are sitting into your hip. So if you feel like balance is an issue, make it a little easier on yourself. So we're not going to alternate, we're going to do one leg and then switch. So I will talk through that when we get there. All right, next up, we're going to do Plankto Downward Dog with taps or YTAs. So YTAs, we've done a bunch of different ways in this class. If you have a couch cushion or a yoga ball and you want to do them elevated, I'll show you that first. So for that, you are kneeling, abdomen and chest around the ball. You're coming up to Y, T, A, squeezing your shoulders. So Y, T, A. A little harder is going to be on the floor. So on the floor, same thing, resting your head and legs on the ground. Y, T, A. So you're squeezing the backs of your shoulders. Option 1. Option 2 is going to be more complicated. So Plankto Downward Dog with taps is what it sounds like. So you are starting a plank position. You're pushing back into downward dog, tapping the opposite leg, shifting back to plank, shifting to downward dog, tapping the opposite. So each time you're resetting to the plank position, tapping the opposite leg, coming forward, tapping, etc. So that's going to be our third movement. Our last movement for this circuit is going to be dead bugs. For those, you are laying on your back, you're drawing your spine into the floor, pulling your belly button in, keeping that core engaged. You don't want your back to arch. You're extending opposite arm, opposite leg, and coming back. If that, in your alternating sides. So just like this, alternating sides. If that is too complicated, there are two ways you can modify it. The first of which being, take one hand, put it on the opposite knee, and do just one side at a time. So just like that. Option two is going to be remove arms from the scenario. So you can either rest your hands at your side or on your stomach, and you're just going to lower one leg to the floor with bent knee at a time, or you can even extend. So modify these. If you feel like you're struggling with the coordination piece, then make it more simple. Get that movement down and make sure you're keeping your core engaged, and then make them more difficult. So that is circuit one. I'll do my best to not block the visibility of the clock, but I think it's kind of impossible. So we're going to start with 45 seconds of super people. So let me so you can all see that I cannot work the clock. That's cool. I'm just kidding. All right, so 45 seconds, so 10-second countdown, and then we're starting with super people. So you can do these either swimmers or super people. I'm going to start with swimmers, and I'll do super people the second round. So 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So remember what I said about these deadlifts, these single leg deadlifts. Make them easier by giving you something to help you stabilize. Balance is an issue. Also try to make sure whatever you're standing on is a solid surface. So we're going to do 30 seconds per leg here. All right, so 10-second countdown. I'm starting with whichever leg you'd like. I personally am starting with my left leg. We'll see how it goes. And switch sides. So 10-second countdown. And go. As you all can see, my balance on my right leg is comically better. Great job. Okay, so next up, we have either those YTAs or the Plankto Downward Dog taps. Remember, you can vary those as you need, the YTAs, I mean. So you can either do them on a cushion or yoga ball, or on the ground, or you can do the Plankto Downward Dog taps. All right. 10-second countdown. 3, 2, 1, and go. Great job. So last but not least, we have dead bugs. And remember, you can vary these to whatever works best for you. 10-second countdown, and then we are going. Go. Great job. Grab some water. Also, as a warning, I'm surprised this hasn't already happened, but this fan is like stuck in the window, so there's some circulation in here, and it's extremely windy outside, so I would not be surprised if at some point that fan blew out of the window. And like I said, I'm surprised it has not already happened. But hopefully, because I said it, it won't happen now. All right, so we are going to start back up in about 15 seconds. So remember, we're starting with super people or swimmers. So we're going to do a 10-second countdown, and then we're on. So 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. Okay, so this time we're going to do, I'm just going to leave it at 45 seconds for these single leg Rdls. But if you want to stop at 30 seconds, feel free. So, we'll start with the left leg. We'll see how that goes. So 10-second countdown, and we're back to the single leg deadlifts. So 10 seconds. Remember to keep your core braced for these. If you're just doing 30 seconds, go ahead and rest. If you're doing 45, you can keep going. All right, switch sides. 10-second countdown. And go. So you're just doing 30 seconds, go ahead and rest. If you're doing 45, you can keep going. Great job. All right. So next up we have YTAs, or we have plank to downward dog with taps. I'm going to do another set of the plank to downward dog with taps. You're welcome to do any modification of YTAs you would like. So 10-second countdown, and then we are on it. Great job. So last but not least for this circuit, our dead bugs. Remember, just like all our other movements today, modify these to fit your body's needs. So 10-second countdown. Go. Great job. Grab some water. So I'm going to grab a sip of water, and then I'm going to talk you through our second session, or second circuit rather. Okay, so circuit 2 today are clam shells, squats. Wait, sorry, messed with the order. Clam shells, push-ups, squats, and toe touch crunches. So we'll start with the clam shells. So I'm going to show you from 2 different angles so you can see what I'm doing. So sometimes these are done with bands. Today we're going to do them with just body weight. So you're going to lay on your side, your knees bent, stacked on top of each other. You can extend this arm if you want, on the side that you're laying on. You're going to squeeze your outer hip, keeping your feet together to lift your hip, like so. So, as you can see, squeezing the outer hip to raise the leg up and closing. So I'm not like going like this. I'm keeping this foot stacked on my other foot, and the movement is coming from my glutes and my hip. So, let's switch sides. I'm also going to show you this angle so you can see a little better. So again, I'm using here, opening up, just like that. And you may find, so you can see my left hip struggles with this movement more than my right. That's normal. So you might have some imbalances, that's totally okay. Just do your best and pay attention to what your body is telling you. So that's number 1. Number 2, push-ups. So we're not doing anything special with these push-ups today. You can do them any way you want. So I'm going to do easiest to most difficult. So wall, hands on a wall, shoulder width apart, coming in, pressing back just like this, keeping that core engaged, elbows are coming out at 45. So you're going to slowly move that more towards the floor to make it more difficult. So the more parallel you are with the floor, the harder it gets. So next you can use like a chair, you can do push-ups like this, at an incline. You can do kneeling push-ups, same thing. So you're here, hands are under your, will end under your armpits, pressing back up for your chest. And then finally you can do a full extension push-up like so, coming down and up. So the key with all of those is you want to keep your core engaged and your elbows want to come out at about a 45-degree angle. So not up here, not super close, like right in the middle. If your wrists bother you and you have either dumbbells or something similar, you can do push-ups on that. So like, for example, I have this bar that I can do push-ups on where my wrist can stay neutral. You can also do push-ups on your fists if your wrists bother you, but for some people that doesn't feel very good either. So just listen to your body and modify as you need. So squats, we talk about squats a lot. I'm going to review form real quick. So for squat, core is engaged, chest is up and open, hips come back, knees come forward and out, and then back up. From the side, same thing, feet are hip width apart, core is engaged, chest up, hips come back, knees come forward and out, and back up. You feel like you're leaning really far forward, so if your squat looks like this, you might have tight calves. So what you can do is you can elevate your heels. So I'll show you using this. So if you put your heels on something like a set of books or something, takes the angle off of your ankle, and you can sit back and come back up. And then lastly, if you feel like you are afraid you're going to lose your balance or you can't bring your hips back, squat to a chair. And that way, if you lose your balance, you literally just sit down, and then you can just come up. So if you are struggling with the squat, I would start with just sitting back into the chair, engaging your core, coming up from your core and your legs. So that can be a good starting spot. And last but not least, toe touch crunches. You're lying on your back, legs are in the air, you're crunching up towards your toes. You don't actually have to touch your toes. You're just crunching toward your toes. So that is circuit 2. So I'm going to grab a sip of water, and then we're going to get to it. We're going to start with just 30 seconds for our clam shells today. All right, so 10-second countdown. We are starting with clam shells. Remember, we're doing one side and then switching. 10 seconds. We'll turn a little bit to the side. Remember, you're squeezing that outer hip and glute. And switch sides. 10-second countdown. Go. If you have one hip that's tighter or weaker than the other, you're really going to be able to tell with these kind of movements. But don't stress about it, it's just something that you can work on. Great work. All right. So today, out of the kindness of my heart, we will only be doing 30 seconds of push-ups. Also because we did those Plankto Downward Dog taps last round. So 30 seconds of push-ups, any variation you want, 10-second countdown. Good job. All right. So squats, we're going to go back up to 45 seconds for. So give me 1 sec. All right. So 10-second countdown. We are squatting. And go. Great job. Okay, so last but not least, we have toe touch crunches for 45 seconds. So 10-second countdown, we're on it. Great job. So rest, grab some water, give one more round. few more seconds of rest. And we're going to start back up with those clam shells. So head back on over to your mat. We've got a 10-second countdown. And go. And switch sides. So 10 seconds. And go. Good job. All right. So next up, we have 30 seconds of push-ups. Any variation you want. And 10-second countdown. Good job. All right. So next up, we have squats. So 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. So last but not least, we have 30 seconds of toe touches, and then we'll finish with a few more core things, and we're done for today. So 10-second countdown. And go. Grab some water. We have 3 things left, and they're not all core. Well, they all involve core, but not just core. All right. So first up, I recently learned that you can also do penguins seated. So I'm going to show you another option for penguins if you'd like to be seated rather than laying on your back. So penguins are where you're laying on your back, reaching for your heels, tapping them, which I'll show you after this. So this variation, you can sit in a chair, you're engaging your core, and then you are reaching to the side, engaging your sides. It can be helpful if you have something to tap. On this, I don't actually have anything to reach for really, so I'm just kind of like reaching for the ground each rep, but sorry, wind. But you get the idea. So you can either do that seated in a chair, or you can do that if you are on the ground, heels, feet hip width apart, and then you are going to come up, engaging your core, and then reach for your heels. If you can't touch them, that's okay too. You can also kind of make it a little more difficult by resetting in between each one like this, or you can just keep your arms down. So we're going to do 30 consecutive seconds of whatever variation you'd like, and we've got a 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So that was number one. Number two, we have a Spiderman Plank for 30 seconds. So ultimately, if you can't do a Spiderman Plank, just do a regular plank. So remember, planks you can either do on your hands or on your elbows. You can also do them kneeling or full extension. So either is fine. Any variation that works for you. You're keeping that core engaged. You don't want to let your low back arch. So Spiderman Plank, you can do on your hands or on your elbows. I'll show both. So I think it's a little easier on your hands, and you are reaching, bring your knee up, just like that, to each elbow, or you can do on your elbows, just like this. So we're going to do 30 seconds total, then you have one more activity, and we're done for today. So 10-second countdown. And go. Great job. And last but not least, we're going to do a 30-second wall sit, and then you are done for today. So wall sit, you can head on over to your nearest wall. You're going to sit like so, your knees at a 90-degree angle, keeping your core engaged. So we're going to do 30 seconds. If you need to rest before then, feel free. But this is it for today. So 10-second countdown. And go. you all for coming to class today. So again, I'm Alex Weaver. I'm coach and owner of Alien Athletes. This class happens every Monday, and it's sponsored by Thundermist. Thank you, Thundermist. And so I'll see you all next Monday, same time, same place, 6 p.m. And have a great rest of the week. Thanks for coming.